Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bridget and this is my financial journey. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I hope my camera isn't too wobbly. Oh, you guys, I'm experimenting with a bunch of new different setups. Just because I am working on a tabletop now instead of on my floor and it's just a little rough right now. Basically the arm phone holder type of thing that I use is broken, and so you're supposed to be able to clip it onto a tabletop, and I kind of can, except it's not very stable, and so right now I'm kind of holding it down with one hand. So we're gonna try to close out this budget one-handed. I hope it works, and if not, then we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, as I said, we're going to be closing out my September budget, and we're also going to be checking in for the last week of the month, in order to do so. So my last week of September, I ended up extending September until October 4th. And so my last week was from September 8th or September 28th through October 4th. So we're going to be checking in. This week went fairly well, I think. I think it was honestly probably just as good as last week and week 2. Okay, so on the 29th, I did run a few errands this day. So I went to go get my oil changed because I hit my 5,000 miles. So I got my oil changed and I got a car wash. I went ahead and took that out of my car maintenance sinking fund, and so with both of those together I spent $68. So I just went ahead and combined both of those, even though I went to 2 separate places. And so I actually go and get my car washes done at Fuel City, and the gas there is always significantly cheaper. So I figured since I was there, I might as well top off my tank, even though it was basically full. Excuse me. Oh, my camera just moved. Okay, so yeah, so I went to go top off my tank and I ended up spending not even $1. So I just rounded that up to $1, which is so extra, but it's, what I spent. I think I spent like 98 cents or 92 cents or something like that. I do use my card, and then I put the money back into the bank. But yeah, I just kind of imagine what the person that came up after me thought once they saw that somebody paid 92 cents, which I do not judge. Like, I have been there. I have gone and paid gas with like pure change, but I can't say I've ever only gotten 92 cents of gas before. But yeah, it is what it is. That same day, I went to Target, and I don't really remember why I went to Target. I think I was just bored, to be honest, and luckily I didn't really get tempted to buy anything. I also didn't have any spending money, so that was also probably why, but I did not have any unbudgeted expenses, which in the past I feel like I could have very well just blown my budget and just used my go through my buffer or take money from other places in order to buy whatever I wanted to buy. But I did go ahead and buy an eye cream, and I spent $12 on that. So I took this out of my self-care sinking fund. And then the same day I went and got groceries. So I went to Kroger and I spent $32. There we go. Doing this one-handed is not that bad. Okay, and I think that was it for this day. And then on the 2nd, I went back to Fuel City. And I spent $6. I like going to Fuel City because, like I said, gas is always significantly cheaper there, but it's not the closest gas station to my house. So anytime I'm in that area, I fill up, which is why I go there so frequently. This day I actually went to the bank to take out money for my first paycheck of October, and so my bank is near a Fuel City. So again, I probably didn't really need to get gas this day, but I just went ahead and topped off because I was there. It was like 20 cents cheaper than the one near my house. So yeah. And that's it, you guys. That's all I spent this week. So we're gonna be laying down my no spend stickers. These are from Romina Rosa. And so we're gonna try to do this one-handed. So we had no spend on the 28th. No spend on the 29th. No spend on the 1st. No spend on the 3rd. And we also had a no spend on the 4th, but because that's off view, I'm going to go ahead and put that on this Sunday right here. So quite a bit of no spends. Let's see. So for the month of September, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 no spends, the vast majority of them being within the last 2 weeks of the month. Okay, so I'm not going to lay these out on my weekly check-in just because I don't have a week 5. I think I tossed it whenever I finished laying this down, but we're just going to go ahead and, since there are not that many transactions, I'm just going to go ahead and, total this all in my monthly budget. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. And let's scooch on over. Okay, so for my income, sorry, I'm just taking my notes out. So for my income, the first 2 paychecks were for those amounts. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy those over. $625.04 and $379.15. Okay, paychecks 3 and 4 were actually one paycheck that I was meaning to split up, I think. And so I did receive a paycheck for $836.93. So that is what my paychecks 3 and 4 technically would have been. And if you've seen my debts update video or any of my weekly budget videos, you'd know that I really wanted to throw any extra money that I had at my debt this month. So I went ahead and put a chunk of money that I had sitting in my checking account that wasn't, it was allocated towards tuition, but I found out that that tuition wasn't going to be due anymore. So I ended up using $704.36. Now this wasn't a paycheck. This has been in my checking account for like over 6 months right now. So I'm just going to put parentheses and put tuition because I don't know what that means. So let's go ahead and total this up. We had 62504, 379, 15, 836, 93, and then 704, 36. So we have 2,545.48 that we were actually working with this month. 2,545.48. I am going to go ahead and find the variable, but I don't know. I don't think that really adds much, especially since we're working with, you know, money that wasn't a paycheck. As far as my paychecks go, I did under budget by $36, but that's fine. So that was 74129. All of my fixed expenses came out for the correct amounts. Let's do my variable expenses because that's where we will obviously have some variance. And for that, I am going to have to reference a few other pages. Okay, spending, I gave myself $300. And so because I didn't have any spending after the 20th, I'm going to go ahead and reference my weekly check-in. Mine view, yes I am. Okay, so week 1 we spent 109. Week 2 we spent 0. Week 3 we spent 91. Week 4 we spent 0, and then week 5 we just checked in with we spent 0. So for the month of September, we spent $200, which is probably the lowest it's ever been, which I am happy with. Obviously, a lot of people have this a lot lower. Oh, whoops, there's totally a variance there. We had a variance of $100. But this is significantly better for how I typically perform, or you know. Okay, gas. I'm gonna go ahead and take my weekly check-in numbers again. So week 1 we spent 20. Week 2 we spent 12. Week 3 we spent 13. Week 4 we spent 30. And then let's go ahead and look at my monthly view for week 5. So we spent $1, and then we spent $6. So for the month of September, we spent $82 on gas, which is significantly less than I had expected. I think last month I've spent $115. So excuse me. Ugh, I keep having to sneeze. I was expecting to spend at least $100. I definitely over budgeted with the 150, but I wouldn't have thought that I would be spending only $82. So we have a variance of $68. I always get a little bit messy on this section. I hope my camera isn't wobbling too much. Groceries, we're gonna do the same thing as gas. So we did 51 week 1, then 20, then 19. Oops, I put 14, so let's go ahead and add a 5, plus 30, and then, is that right? I'm just going to go ahead and type that in again. So we had 51 plus 20 plus 19, and then week 4 was 0. So we're at 90. Oh, doing this one-handed is so difficult. And then this week, we spent $32. So we are at $122 this month, which I think is a good amount. I think I will try to keep it at this amount moving forward. Which means we're $28 over budget, or under budget. Okay, Wells Fargo loan, we didn't put anything towards that. YouTube, those are gonna be my Etsy purchases. So let's zoom out a little bit. I don't think I was in frame whenever I was checking these off, now that I realized by zooming out. So for Etsy, we spent $59 and then $10. So we ended up going over budget in that category. Spent $69. So we were over budget by $29. Okay, unbudgeted. I did not have any unbudgeted expenses. However, I did cover, I did pay my mom $100 for October from this budget. So though it wasn't an unbudgeted like variable expense, that $100 isn't anywhere in here, or that additional $100 isn't anywhere in here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that under unbudgeted. And that is included like in my paycheck for budget, so it's not like it's not included anywhere else. So let's go ahead and add up my actuals. We have 282, 122, 69, and 100. So for my actuals, I had $573. And then let's do my variances. We had 100, 68, 28, and then negative 29, negative 100. So we were still under budget by $67. And so let's go ahead and add the 573 just to double check. Yep, it goes over to 640. Now let's do the bottom conclusion. Okay, so my income ended up being $2,545. Ooh, the cold's in the way. 48. Now, my actual income that I earned was pretty accurate. It was like, as I said earlier, it was only like $30 off, but I did include money that was in my bank account that I worked with. So for week 2, I think 2 or 3. I think it was week 3, but it was like technically paycheck 2. I did work with a sinking fund as my income. I took money from my school sinking fund as a paycheck per se. So I did not want to include that in my income because I didn't earn it. Yes, I included tuition in my income, but I have never accounted for this anywhere in my budget, whereas that sinking fund was sitting in a sinking fund account. So I know I'm getting kind of technical, but I just didn't want to include it in here for some reason. So we're going to go over that in this little conclusion section. You could probably zoom in a little bit. Okay, so for my fixed expenses, that stayed the same. So there was no variance there. I'm not going to fill out this column. I don't really care about this column, to be honest. So variable expenses, we were at 573. And that is with a $100 unbudgeted expense. So I'm very proud of that, especially because we were under budget in all of my envelopes. So I'm happy with that. Okay, additional debt. We're actually going to go into my paychecks to find this number. So Paycheck number 1, we did not make any additional debt payment. We just did my minimums. This was a kind of tight paycheck. Paycheck number 2, we made an additional debt payment. Actually, you know what? We can actually just go to my debt. Okay, we made additional debt payments of $1,307.92 and $166. So we made additional debt payments of $1,473 or $1,473.92. Which is really cool because we weren't expecting to add anything to it. So I'm really happy with the progress that we made this month. And then sinking funds. Sinking funds was a little bit tricky because I was working with my sinking fund for, week 3. But I think I figured out a good way to calculate it. So out of paycheck 1, I did not add to any sinking funds. For now, we're going to skip paycheck 2 because this was basically just rebudgeting my sinking fund. But from paycheck number 3, I added $169 to sinking funds. And from paycheck 4, we added $105. So that's $274 that we added to sinking funds. Now, from my school sinking fund, we took out $176.67 to cover some fixed expenses. I also took out $40 to cover some variable expenses. And oh, I did something wrong. Okay, let me write that out again. 169 plus 105. Okay, we took out 176.67. We also took out $40. And we took out $389.33 to make an additional debt payment. Which means net of all of my, contributions, I actually took out $332 from my sinking funds. So for my monthly budget, I'm going to put a negative $332. I hope that makes sense. And let's go ahead and do my totals. So we had income of $2,545.48. We had expenses of $830.56 and $573. We made an additional debt payment of $1473. Okay, we did something wrong. 2,545.48 less 830.56 less 573. Okay. We made an additional debt payment of $1473.92, and then we took out $332. So that technically was also similar to an income. So we're going to add that in to get our $0. Now, normally this wouldn't work out perfectly at $0, but this $704 I did kind of use as a plug while preparing my budget because I don't have $0 in my checking account. I have about $113 as a buffer, but when figuring out this number, I kind of just took my total and subtracted out the buffer. So that's why it works out perfectly this month. However, it's not perfect. But yeah, and so the last thing I wanted to do was I wanted to go into my wallet and see what cash I have. So let's move this aside. So when I went to the grocery store, I spent $32, but I only had $30, so I ended up taking out $2 from gas. So groceries is empty, and spending, never got anything put into it, so that one is also empty. So I do have some leftover money in gas, and I'm going to try to count this using one hand. I have 5, 10, 15, 20, $21 left in gas. So this is the money that I have remaining for the month of September. I'm going to put this in my wallet because I'm going to return this to the bank, and this will be my first additional debt payment for the month of November. So this is going to go towards my Discover card, which is a debt that I'm working on. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and start October because I'm so ready for October. But that is all that I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.